Welcome back to the aftermath, where it was Luton Town 1, West Ham United 2 on a Friday. And the aftermaths are going to be on a Tuesdays because I have the West Ham Fans Premier League roundup on a Monday. If you are enjoying the aftermath, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. I am on the road to 200 subscribers. So if you can make that happen as soon as possible, it'll be much appreciated. Luton set up in a 5-3-2, first game at the Kenilworth Road under Rob Edwards in the Premier League. Kaminsky in goal, Doherty, Burke, Anderson, Bell and Giles as their five defenders, with Doherty and Giles being their wing-backs, Chong, Nakamba, Barkley. Man like Ross Barkley is back in the Premier League in midfield, and so is Marvellous Nakamba. And Adebayo and Morris up front, the front two that helped them get promoted last season. We set up in a it says 4-2-3-1 here, but I'm going to say it was a 4-1-4-1 because that's what it looked like on paper. It looked like Alvarez was just sitting in front of the centre-backs. Areola, Soufal, Zuma again, Ward-Prowse, Alvarez, Paqueta, Bowen, Ben Rama, Antonio. Simple team. The team I wanted, and Thomas Souček should not get back in this team. He should not play against Manchester City because he doesn't need to. And it's going to be hard trying to fit Kudus, Paqueta, Alvarez and Ward-Prowse in this team. But there was some overall I was very happy with the performance. But there were negatives to say. There were negatives to point out. And we'll go through them. So Areola's only very shaky when it comes to cross collection when he's got Naif Aguirre as his centre back in front of him with Kurt Zuma, because him and Zuma have good communication. Him and Ogbonna have good communication. These two cannot play together. Aguirre, well, to be honest with you, Aguirre and with either of our keepers is not good enough when it comes to communication. And if you look at the games, Bournemouth, you got bullied by Solanke again. They were always trying to get on his shoulder. And he's not strong enough either. And then the Chelsea game, he didn't need to make that challenge against Nicholas Jackson. As much as we became better with 10 men, as much as we won the game 3-1, he was not needed. And I'm convinced if he had played against Brighton, it would have been a harder game. I generally think Brighton probably would have scored an extra goal. I think if you have, in a hypothetical situation, you play another centre-back instead of Aguirre, and you play 38 games, and then you say to me, what would happen if Aguirre started those games instead of this centre-back? I'm convinced we concede at least another goal because of him. And he was at fault for the goal again. He was at fault for the goal. And he's already in the wrong position. He's too distracted by someone else that's near Emerson. I think it was Morris at the time. That his man, Anderson, who was in the middle, which allowed Zuma to have to shift across because he thought Aguirre had him. Like, he's spread out the whole thing. We did not need to concede that goal. But Aguirre, no. He was terrible. He was actually awful. He was awful on the day. And he was getting bullied by Morris. When Morris was getting up for the headers, but as soon as he got his arm on him, he's out strength. He's been barged, he's been weighted. And he was one of the few negatives from the game. And I think Zuma, who was his centre-back partner, was actually really good. And it doesn't surprise me. He deserved his man of the match from against Brighton. But I thought Alvarez should have got this one. But Zuma, brick wall, loves a physical game. Even some strikers have said that Kurt Zuma's just ridiculous when it comes to just coming up against him. Even Troy Deeney has said that is probably the hardest to come up against that he's played against. With the leap, the strength. He lost his recovery pace a long time ago from that Chelsea injury, but he's still got a bit of short-term pace, let's say. what I mean by that, short distance pace, short term pace. And he could get there quick enough. He was heading everything out. He's an organizer in the defence. Hopefully, he stays as captain. And the chants from the opposition fans only motivated him to score the header even more. Great goal from the air. And yeah, great performance from him. Emerson was a bit on and off for me. I don't think he did much wrong, really. But I do think Doughty gave him a bit of a hiding. And that goes to the same for Soufal. I think both of our fullbacks got done in by their wingbacks. I think Doughty was probably their best player. The guy with 45 shirt who ended up going left wing back. The fact that they took him off was a bit mad to me because I thought he was their best player. But he gave Emerson a bit of a tough time. It doesn't help when Said Ben Rama doesn't want to help him out, who we will come to later in this video. But Vladimir Soufal especially, Giles done him. Luckily, Giles cannot really cross. But you know he's going to go on his left foot and he's still getting done in because of lack of mobility and just bad decision-making in general. And he was awful. He was awful because he wasn't good in possession either. The guy didn't really do much in general. I think he did a really good tackle in the second half. I think he improved in general in the second half. But he was getting done in a lot. And I'm not saying this for the sake of it. This has been his worst game and he hasn't really... I don't think Soufal was bad against Brighton because I think he gave Mitoma something to think about in the second half. Against Chelsea, I think Mudryk done him in a bit. But even Chilwell done him in on the left wing a bit. And getting done in by Ben Chilwell is not a good thing because the guy's not a winger. And Bournemouth, he was okay. Bournemouth, I thought he was actually alright. But he needs to buckle up as well because Kehra's there. And if Moyes really wants to, Ben Johnson's there. But for the love of God, please do not play Ben Johnson. I don't know why he's still here. But it wasn't his best of games either. And I think Zuma was the main guy of the defence that actually stood out. James Ward-Prowse, good assist for the goal. I thought he did really well in the first half, in possession especially. I think him and Alvarez, again, really used this West Ham team very quickly. A few sloppy passes, though, from James Ward-Prowse. I think he could have done better with a few of them. I think he's actually decent in possession. He's decent under pressure, but I think sometimes just once he builds a relationship with players on the pitch, he'll become even better. And people generally thought this guy was just going to be the sole defensive midfielder as a Declan Rice replacement. That was never going to happen, and that never will happen, because if that does happen, we will be fucked. But with him, he's more than just a set-piece merchant of what our fans were calling him. And the guy is just a general good... He's sound, technically. That's how you say it. He's sound. Like, he'll give you something kind of thing. He'll give you something, like... And he's not just like a hindrance. He's not just like there because you have to have him for set pieces. He's not there because of that. He can actually give you something going forward. He can put a tackle in. And him and Alvarez were putting tackles in again. All our three of our midfielders, him, Alvarez and Paquetá, were very crucial to this whole game because they were putting tackles in for fun. And the way we set up, because they sat in their 5-3-2 very well, and then they would press us at times, and it was a very hard shape to actually like play around from what it looked like. And I thought we stood our ground very well. I thought we would get the win in the end because of the quality that we have, but at the same time, it wasn't an easy game at all. Let's be honest, it wasn't. And I think they did well. I think Moyes did well to just put them in possession and press a bit. I think he set up really well, David Moyes, and it proves that sometimes we are going to have to play against teams that sit off us rather than us sitting off teams. And we've got players in possession that can play in possession. And with that midfield, Ward-Prowse, Alvarez and Paquetá, that has to be the first team midfield. The only concern that I have is that if Alvarez gets injured, the whole structure of the midfield, the whole balance of the midfield is fucked. Because Souček is not good as being a sitter. Ward-Prowse is not a sitter. and we're gonna just go back to the 4-2-3-1 and try and balance it out. But let's hope they wrap Alvarez in cotton wool. Let's really hope that he doesn't get injured on international duty, because I think he's going with Mexico. And Alvarez sitting in front of the back four might be the way, because it allows Paquetá to just combine with people. And the guy runs everywhere, so he can combine with people who he wants. But him and Ward-Prowse were kind of switching around. It was giving Luton other things to think about, because we were becoming unpredictable, and that's something that was missing last season. And that's how we could evolve as a team. We could become unpredictable with the ball, without the ball, etc. And I think we did well in doing that. I think Alvarez in general was my man of the match. The way the guy retains the ball, the 1-2s this guy plays. I said this when we got him, yeah? He said he's not good on the ball compared to Frankie de Jong. Frankie de Jong is elite on the ball. This guy's elite at just carrying the ball. Doesn't mean Edson Alvarez is shit on the ball. It just means for Ajax standards, and the standards of being on the ball at Ajax is very high. It means Alvarez doesn't really meet that. But Alvarez, for us, is very good. It is. I don't really want to talk about Declan Rice that much, because all Sky Sports do is talk about Declan Rice when it comes to us, and how we're going to replace him, say with Tottenham and Harry Kane, etc. But Alvarez gives us the replacement thing that he's pretty much the perfect replacement for Declan Rice, because Declan Rice, when we were like struggling to beat the press on the edge of our box, Declan Rice will shimmy past players and retain the ball, recycle the ball, and keep the ball. Alvarez can do that with his feet. He did it against Brighton, and he's just very good at playing out. And when you need to play out, you give the ball to him. If there's no options for him, he's obviously going to give the ball away, isn't he? And he will learn the pace of the Premier League. He still needs to learn the pace of the Premier League. I'm not going to get carried away. First season, I'm not going to get too high about him or too low about him. I'll judge him based on what I see, because I obviously we saw what happened with Thomas Souček first season. We got gassed, and then he hasn't been the same since, because of the dynamics of our midfield. Excuse me. But I think there's going to be points where Mohamed Kudus might have to come in on the left, because I don't know how he's going to fit into this midfield, because this midfield's on fire right now. And Paquetá was having another game of his life. Beautiful assist into Jared Bowen. And I always say this: no one in our team can play that pass. Not that pass. Maybe Cresswell in that position, because you've got a cross on him. But those kind of passes that Paquetá does, and he will give the ball away sometimes, but he's always trying to create. And that is the problem that we've had for years, creativity, not creation. Because Lanzini hasn't been at his best because of his injuries. And we obviously sold Payet fucking years ago. And Felipe Anderson was shit. And as good as Fornals is on the ball, like Paquetá is just elite on the ball. Not elite on the ball, that's too far. But very good on the ball. And he was the missing piece. And when he's got used to the Premier League, he's there to it's there. It's there. Like, you can see it. I can see it. Simple. I don't think he's been called up for Brazil because of the whole betting thing. So glad he's just not gonna play and just gonna rest. I do have something to say. There's one more negative, and I like this guy. I think we all like this guy, but ultimately he's too inconsistent. Saïd Benrahma, let's talk about it, man. He hasn't started off the season well. In Bournemouth, from what I saw, he wasn't that good. I know a lot of people, my stream cut off for a big portion of that game, so a lot of people said he was terrible, and probably in this part of the second half that I didn't see. Against Chelsea, he was taking too long on the ball, not really shooting enough. And against Brighton, he played well, coming on as a sub. Beautiful balls, Jared Bowen, and you know the rest. Against Luton, I do think Benrahma has a good relationship on the pitch with Emerson and Lucas Paquetá. But for me, it's not been good enough this season so far. And someone like a Maxwell Cornet can come in. Someone like a Pablo Fornals can come in. Someone like a Kudus can come in. Just get any of them on. Because I don't think we should play Fornals off the left, but I do think coming up against Man City and Liverpool, you have to play Fornals off the left because of his work rate. Then again, you need speed on the counter-attack, so maybe you play Kudus. Or maybe you play Cornet. I would play Cornet. I would actually give him a chance. But he's not going to get given a chance this season, is he? Let's be honest. But Benrahma needs to shoot more. I mean, no, actually, no, he doesn't. Benrahma needs to shoot accurately. The biggest problem with Benrahma is testing the keeper. The guy doesn't know how to test the keeper. The guy takes too long with his decision making. He was probably our best player last season. If we're being completely honest, he deserved Hammer of the Year. I know Declan Rice got it, but when there was a period of time when the first 6 months of the year, no one else was good, and Said Benrahma was good. He was the only good player that was actually playing well. Him and you could argue Zuma, but even Zuma started off quite badly that season. And Benrahma, you never know what you're going to get. You'll get a masterclass from Benrahma, or you'll get a disaster class from Benrahma. And the shooting was fucking shit. One of the shots was so bad with his left foot that Enson Alvarez fell to the floor because he knew the chance that we had to score from that. And he was shit. He was shit on the day. He was very shit. I know the commentators, Carragher, the other dude, said that he got into some bright moments, and he did that, but that sums up Benrahma quite well. And he combines well with Paquetá, he combines well with Emerson, and he's a very good player. But the guy's too inconsistent. He's too inconsistent. And it's not even just like lack of possession football, because we're playing possession football in this game because we had to. But it just hasn't been good enough. Sometimes it is him. It's not just boys, it is him as well. But he has to get dropped eventually. The problem is Moyes takes too long to drop players, so I can't see that happening. I think we didn't give the ball into Mikel Antonio enough, so I can't really judge Mikel Antonio on his performance. And he couldn't really run the channels that much because of they were playing a 5 in the back, and they were just very tight in between, like the line between the centre back and the wing back. And Antonio usually runs the channels very well, bullies people, pow, defenders going flying. But you couldn't see that in this game because it wasn't that type of game. And from what I can see, he was doing well. He was getting out of situations well. As soon as Antonio starts running through with the ball, like nobody wants it with him. Nobody wants it. Not even Reece Burke, that trained with him. That's trained with him before, I'm sure, in the first team at West Ham a few years ago. And Jared Bowen, someone that responded very well to the fans chanting about him, calling his girlfriend a whore, which a lot of people have complained about. I get why you should be calling people's girlfriends a whore, but whores and stuff. But it's a football game where a lot of chants get chanted, unfortunately, and a lot of things that go too far will get said. Like, I'm not gonna go on my high horse, my moral compass, and say that they shouldn't be chanting that, because West Ham fans don't exactly like chant good things all the time, do we? So like, a lot of teams go too far with their chants, but that's always been in football. I don't agree with the chant, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to cry about it because I feel like it'll be quite hypocritical of me as a West Ham fan. So yeah, but Bowen responded well. He responded well on the pitch, and it's only going to motivate players to score. So if you want to keep chanting about our players, keep chanting about our players, because they're only going to get motivated and score. It's happened plenty of times before. Every time we face Leeds fans will chant to Declan Rice, shit, Calvin Phillips, and they will have a masterclass against them. Even when Calvin Phillips wasn't there, which was kind of sad from Leeds fans. But yeah, back post header from Bowen. The Kaminsky dude from their keeper should have saved it. And yeah, it wasn't good enough from him. But ultimately, Bowen doesn't score many headers. He's not really good at heading the ball in general. So he did well to actually be there in the first place. So fair play to him. We brought on Fornals, Kudus, and Ings. Ings to see out the game. Kudus just for whatever, just for some minutes. Then we conceded a goal. Then he actually had to become an extra defender for us, as everyone did. We had 11 men behind the ball. Danny Ings didn't really do much. We didn't really get the ball into him. And Pablo Fornals, yeah, he got into some good positions, roamed around when he wanted to. I can't really comment on the subs because I don't really see much from them. But I would like to see Mubama in the future. But yeah, that would be it for the aftermath. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. Social medias are in the description if you want to follow me. The email for the inquiries. And I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.